What's going on, Husker Nation? Thank you so much for tuning in today. Happy game day, everybody. Football is in the air. Now, I can't make it to the game because I've got other plans this weekend, but you can go to the game. And if you're at the game, these are the things that I would be watching if I were you. These are the things I would be watching if I was at the game. Now, you can watch whoever you want and whatever you want, but just keep an eye out for a few of these things. And if you happen to grab an extra helmet, extra face mask, send me a DM. I'll go ahead and pay for it. I'll pay for you to ship it to Kansas City. I wish I was there. I mean, I would have so much fun at that garage sale. Holy crap, there's so much awesome things there. But let's get into it. Offensively, this is what I'm looking for. Efficiency in the passing game. Do TJ and Marcos make quick decisions? Are they processing things quickly? Are they making the right decisions? I expect, and we expect, more of a quick passing game under Dana Holgorsen. I want to see how TJ and Marcos make their reads in that part of the game, because in these quick passing plays, typically speaking, the ball's going to be out in like 1.8 to 2.5, maybe 2.8 seconds. So it's really quick. And are they making the right decisions in those reads? Are they getting the ball out on time? Are they getting the ball to the receiver accurately, in stride, things like that in the short passing game? In the deeper passing game, play actions, things like that, where there's more development within the play, I want to see them reading the defense. I want to see them scan that field, right? Going left to right, high to low, or right to left, low to high. However it is designed in Nebraska's scheme, I want to see them read the coverage, make the throw on time and accurately. In the event where they're feathering it over the linebacker, I want to see them be able to do that. Feather it over the linebacker underneath the safety. Dylan is so good at that. I want to see how they do with those throws. Now, those are pretty advanced throws, especially for like TJ, who's a true freshman, but it's still a throw he's going to have to make in a game. Not this year or anytime in next year either, for that matter. But those are big things that a quarterback has to be able to do. Now, for TJ, I want to see him in the run game as well. Does Nebraska have zone read packages for a guy like TJ? Do they have option packages for a guy like TJ? I want to see him scramble, get out of the pocket, throw on the move. Same for Marcos, because I want to see his athleticism a little bit as well. TJ is not overly fast, but he's definitely more athletic and more mobile than Dylan Raiola. So I want to see him flash his athleticism today. Now, for the route tree, Justin and I have talked about this time and time again. It drove us nuts last year. It seemed like Nebraska just had receivers running deep all the time, and then you check it down to a tight end or a running back, and there was no purpose for the route tree. It was just a conundrum. I never understood it. Neither did Justin, and he understands football at such a high level that even someone like him's not understanding the passing route tree. It makes me a little bit concerned. Now, in the example I'm going to give you, these are things I'd like to see when I mean routes with purpose, routes with a design and an intent to get a specific person the ball, things like that. And say like a 2x1 or a 3x1, we'll use 3x1 in this instance formation. So you got three receivers wide, 1, 2, 3, and you got a tight end over here on the opposite side. Your outside receiver, maybe he's running a clear out route, go route, 9 route, other terms like that. Maybe your second receiver is running a bang 8. Maybe they're running a post. And then your inside receiver is running a flat, or maybe they're running a hitch, or maybe they're running an out. So you have a high, deep route, medium, intermediate, post, and then you got your short route. You read that high to low. 9 route, post route, hitch or out route or flat route. And then you have your tight end over here who's coming across the field, whether it's a drag, whether they're running like 8 yards and cutting in, or maybe they're doing a 3 steps or 3 yards and a slant. You have a check down back over the middle in case option 1, 2, and 3 are covered. That is what I mean by routes with a purpose. Last year, it seemed Nebraska, they have a guy doing a deep crosser, and then your slot receiver would be running like a deep post, and then the next guy, your slot receiver, would be running like the same route, or maybe a go route or a corner route. And they didn't seem to have a lot of purpose. There's a lot of deep routes. There's no like designed place to get a guy a ball. Now, if they're in like a cover 2 or a cover 4, like that's why you have plays like this where you have guys at every level of the field, because then it creates spacing. That's what I want to see from Nebraska's route tree and Dana Holgerson's offense. Now, the running game last year was inconsistent at best. Now, the numbers may be decent. Nebraska didn't have a 1,000-yard back. They didn't have a running back with more than 600 or 700 yards. Nebraska needs to run the football. Run the damn ball. Now, we have a really good quarterback that can throw it, right? But you still need to establish the run game. It sets up so much in your passing game, the play action passing game in particular. With the running game, does Nebraska run more inside zone or outside zone? And what are they best at in that running game? How do the running backs run between the tackles? Nebraska doesn't have a lot of big, powerful backs right now. You got Quentin Ives, who's probably not playing. So Connor Booth is your big, powerful back. How does he handle running between the tackles? How has he handled the step up from Class C2 or whatever in Nebraska to Power 5, Power 4 football? Does Mekhi Nelson bust a big run today? We heard from Damon Benning on his show on Thursday that Mekhi Nelson ran the ball very good. Do we see some of that today? Who else in that running back room can step up? A guy like Kenneth Walker, speed burner, small guy, 5'9", maybe 5'10", 180 to 190 pounds. He's a super fast running back, very athletic. He will be a factor in Nebraska's system this year, whether that's on offense or special teams. There is a role for a guy like Kenneth Walker. Watch him, especially on special teams. We'll get to that here in a minute. Defensively, this is the key for me. This is the most important, probably for me. Special teams, I think, is naturally just going to have to step up because Mike Eckler has such a great track record. But defensively, John Butler is in his first year as a defensive coordinator. This is the first time he's been a defensive coordinator since he was at Penn State under Bill O'Brien a decade ago. What wrinkles do we see with John Butler's defense? I expect more attacking from the linebackers. I expect more aggressiveness from the defensive backs, in particular, the cornerbacks. I want to see them jamming guys at the line of scrimmage. I want to see them rerouting receivers at the line of scrimmage, throwing off the timing from the quarterback. I want to see them aggressively attacking the ball in coverage. I expect a lot of that with John Butler and Addison Williams from their secondary. With the linebackers, a lot of athletes at linebacker and a lot of guys without a ton of experience that are going to get some today. I want to see how they flow sideline to sideline. I want to see how they flow in the run game as they fill holes and set the edge. I want to see them be physical at the point of attack. I want to see them hit and wrap up aggressively. I want to see them corral to the ball. We're going to see a really good linebacker play from Nebraska. Like I said in our linebacker preview, this is probably quietly the best position on Nebraska's defense. For the interior defensive line, a lot of concerns, right? We have a lot of guys that haven't played a ton. Even Elijah Judy hasn't played a ton in his career, whether that was at Texas A&M or at Nebraska. He's not going to play today. Neither is Riley Van Poppel. This is a big day. Now, people don't put a lot into spring games because they used to be on TV and they kept it very vanilla. The game's not on TV. And I guarantee you, Nebraska is going to tell the media they are limited in what they can air and broadcast and share footage-wise from the game. This might allow Nebraska to open things up a little bit from their playbook, more than they normally do in years past from the spring game. What does this defensive line look under new leadership with Terry Braden coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs? Is there somebody that can take over a game? There's going to be a lot of young guys that are playing on the interior defensive line. How do they hold up in the run game? How do they hold up in the passing game? Are they able to get to the quarterback? Are they able to shed blocks? Now, on the edge, are there guys that flash? Are there guys that can consistently get to the quarterback? This is an area that Nebraska needs a lot of help in. The edge rushers, what do they look like? We're probably not going to see Williams Nwaneri. If we do, it's going to be very limited. I would expect maybe like 2 or 3 series from him at most. I think he's doing very well in camp right now. That's why there's not a lot of people talking about Williams Nwaneri. I want to see stunts from the defensive line. Shedding blocks. Defensive ends setting and holding the edge. And I want to see their speed in the open field, chasing down a quarterback, chasing down a running back on a stretch play. I want to see them recover on a screenplay. I'd love Nebraska to run like 5 or 6 screenplays to the halfback or to the running back today. And I want to see how that defensive line flows to the ball. See that athleticism in open field. At safety, this is where I think we might see some changes. I think we're going to see more of an advanced coverage scheme from Nebraska's secondary. A lot of times in college, it's just like it's cover 2, cover 4, cover 1, cover 6, whatever, and you kind of just stick to that area. You don't see much rotation within those safeties. This is what I'm going to be keying on for the Rover, is going to be who is playing that and how is that position utilized in John Butler's defense. Are they closer to the line of scrimmage? Are they playing more of that deep middle third that we talked about in our safeties and Rovers breakdown? In terms of advanced or maybe doing different things in coverage, this is something that like Terry Braden did a lot at the Chiefs with their defense and with their safeties, in particular on third down. Maybe you show cover 2, and then after the snap, one safety rolls to a robber roll and the other safety switches over to more of a cover 1. Or maybe you're showing that cover 1 robber, and then after the snap, the free safety becomes the strong safety and the robber becomes the free safety. And there's so much movement within the safeties. That screws up so much with the quarterback because he's reading one thing and then you, at the snap, switch to a completely different defense. You can do that same thing. Show like a cover 1 robber and then bail out to a cover 3 or a cover 4. There's so many different things you can do that are such high level that you see in the NFL. You don't see a lot in college. With Nebraska having so many seniors and so many guys with a lot of playing time in that part of the defense, do they change some things with the safety play this year? I'd be curious. That's something I would be watching a lot of. Now, they've talked about different packages and having players for specific packages. Really just want to kind of see what those packages are and how they're utilized. Pass down packages. What do those look like from a schematic standpoint? Are they more aggressive on third downs, or are there more blitzes on third downs? I think there's going to be. That's one thing that John Butler is very aggressive. He's not going to sit there and let you have time to make a decision. He wants to speed up that clock from a quarterback perspective, make you get that ball out earlier than you wanted to. That is something I expect a lot from John Butler's defense. Where do the corners line up on third and obvious passing situations, or even second and obvious passing situations? Are they still giving 8 yards of cushion? Because if they are, I'm going to go freaking nuts. Jam the receivers at the line of scrimmage. Set their route or reset their routes at the line of scrimmage. It drove all of us nuts last season. I want to see that change, but I'm not a coach, so maybe there's a reason for that. Special teams wise, this is like the biggest area of concern for everybody, right? Not for me. Coach Eckler is a dude. He is an incredible special teams coordinator. I have a few notes, though, that I want to go over with special teams. Snaps and holds, snaps and holds, snaps and holds, snaps and holds. That's all I care about, really, at the end of the game today. Are we getting good snaps? And is the holder holding onto the damn ball? That's all I care about. It cost us, Nebraska, so many games last year because we couldn't get a good snap. We couldn't get a clean hold because we had terrible snaps. We had punts blocked because our long snapper last season was looping in these snaps to the punter. They need to be quick. Get back there fast so he has time. Now, from a punter perspective, not going to get too up or too down about Camden Cook's performance. If he's got like an absolute cannon on his leg and he's just dropping dimes inside the 20 and coffin corner and kicks, yeah, I'll probably get a little hyped because he's very young and he's showing that potential right away. But we know Nebraska is getting a rugby-style kicker in the portal or through Pro Kick Australia here in the next 1 to 2 months, 2.5 months or so. That's why I don't want to get too high or too low from a punter perspective. Now, in the punt return game, if we had a punt return and like 2 of them for more than 10 yards, that would be fantastic. That would be an improvement from last season or like the last 3 under Ed Foley. That requires people to actually block on punt return, though, and Nebraska really didn't do much of that last season. At kick return, give me 1 or 2, nice kickoff returns, 25, 30 yards. Maybe bust one, have great coverage, things like that. Now, who's returning said punts and kicks? Well, Andrew Marshall is certainly a factor. That's going to be if he plays. Ja'Cory Barney likely is going to potentially, well, not likely, he's going to potentially be one once the season comes. Very likely not going to play. Who did I mention earlier? Kenneth Williams. That's my guess. Who's going to be returning kicks and or punts today? Kenneth Williams ran a 10-500 meter in high school. He's 5'9", 180 to 190 pounds. Speed burner. And he's not afraid to get hit either. If you remember his opening kickoff for the Pinstripe Bowl, he got laid out and he jumped right back up. Kenneth Williams, like I said, he's going to be a factor for Nebraska. I think there's a good chance he will return kicks for Nebraska this coming season. At kicker, Tristan Alvano is back from injury. How does his leg strength look? How's his accuracy look? Not only on PATs and field goals, but on kickoffs. How's his placement? How's his leg strength? Is he able to get the ball into the end zone? They might tell him, don't kick it into the end zone because we want to have some returns and work on punt return or kick return coverage and kick returns. But you could still get a good idea of his leg strength and his placement on the ball. Nico Adamelli, watch him today. The redshirt freshman from New Jersey. This is the first time we're going to see him get extended action because there's only the two kickers right now. We're going to see him on multiple PATs, on multiple field goals, and on multiple kickoffs. Really curious to see how his leg strength is, how his accuracy is on kicks, things like that. And then John Hull, because like I said, we only have two kickers. John Hull is still injured, still has an injury. It's minor. But can Tristan Alvano take back the starting kicker job in the spring? Watch him today, because I think Tristan Alvano is going to surprise some people. Some people have written him off. The final question, this is a big one here. Okay, this is a big one, so prepare yourself. Does Mike Eckler headbutt somebody, causing his head to bleed? That is my question, because he is a super, super hype coach. Does he cut his head on somebody's helmet by smashing his head against theirs like he did against Tennessee? That's all I've got for today. Stay tuned as the reports come out. I'll gather info and I'll get a video ready for you probably tomorrow or Monday. Stay tuned. We have our Tuesday live show at 6 p.m. Central Time. And like we've been saying all week, the Husker Gutter call-in show every Thursday live at 6 p.m. Central Time. A show for the fans, by the fans, named by the fans. It is your show. The time is yours to call in. 6 p.m. Central Time every Thursday evening. Enjoy the game, everybody.